Hey guys, this is Mike. I thought Rachel and I would do something a little better, a little special for you on this Monday email. And there's a couple of important things going around. I guarantee some things you've heard of and have been mulling around in your mind, maybe even you might be concerned about a little bit. What I'm talking about is this, among other things, this coronavirus that's prevalent right now, the thing going on in China, and there's 12 cases right now in the US with one death associated with the virus. A lot worse in China. So, what it brought home to our family was, Rachel is a type 1 diabetic, and she kind of heard through the media that diabetics do not do well at all if they contract this virus. It's almost like being an elderly person or an ultra young person contracting the virus. The odds of serious complications, even lethal complications, are very possible with a diabetic. So the reason the genesis of this particular video and this Monday email is not to make you feel better or worse or more concerned about anything than necessary. It's kind of to inform you. So what came to mind with Rachel and I was that every single person with a digestive disorder has a compromised immune system. Your immune system is based on the volume and quality of beneficial digestive bacteria that you have in your gut. And I'm not going to claim that I understand every aspect of that, but I do know that a negative bacteria that becomes part of your system is either overwhelmed by the beneficial bacteria that you have, or if those bacteria are depleted or suppressed, let's say from rounds of antibiotics or an ongoing over-acidification, which suppresses beneficial bacteria, or for whatever reason, that makes the negative or anaerobic type bacteria and viruses and fungal infections much more critical and much more devastating to you and I. So we're going to cover this just briefly. I'm not trying to be a doomsayer, and there's nothing negative in this. We're going to educate you on how to stay safe and what these viruses, bacteria, infections, fungicides, and things could mean to you and how to avoid becoming a victim to that. So right now, I would say that it appears that the odds of someone in the U.S. Who is not visiting China, coming to or from China on an airplane, that kind of thing, you're amazingly safe from this, and we're not going to say anything different. However, these rules apply whether there is an additional threat right now or not. So here we go. In our situation, when you have a digestive disorder, diverticulitis, colitis, Crohn's, whatever, one of the things that's happened to you is your system's over-acidified. That actually attacks and kills a lot of your intestinal flora. Then, if complications from your digestive disorder cause you to go to your doctor, the most common remedy for somebody who comes into a doctor's office is what? It's a round of antibiotics. So that makes things in the long run even worse. Am I suggesting that you not listen to your doctor? No, I'm saying you have to do it when you have to do it. But you do whatever you've done, whatever you've gone through, and whatever you had to do. Now you start with as much of a clean slate as you have, and we want to take you from there and help you get better. So we have two things in mind that really help with this. And one, of course, is if you had a natural antibiotic that you could use, especially during times of concern, like when the coronavirus becomes prevalent. And I'm not saying that is a real threat. I'm just giving you some thoughts to mull over and recognize when you should and shouldn't, or can or can't use something like a natural antibiotic. These things can often kind of head off at the pass another type of infection getting to you. So the product that I'm thinking of immediately, the first product we'll talk about shortly, is called GSE, grapefruit seed extract. Please try to not confuse it with grape seed extract, which has no effect on anything we're about to talk about. So grapefruit seed extract is it's a mild antibiotic. It appears that it is kind of friendly to aerobic or the friendly body bacteria, the gut bacteria that you want to keep. It doesn't appear to damage or wipe those out the way a blanket, strong medicinal pharmaceutical antibiotic does. That makes it preferable in that sense. Not when you're really sick and or on death's door or need to go to your doctor. But before that, before you get that sick, if you will start taking GSE according to the instructions on the bottle or in your book or in your videos, it can be extremely beneficial. GSE has actually helped us allow thousands of people to not fall all the way into an attack or flare up, because it's effective enough that if you catch things in the early stage, whether it be a cold, a flu, maybe even something like the coronavirus, but also bacterial and other infections that we are more prone to than the average person because we have a digestive disorder, then it can be very effective. Then I want to discuss real briefly the pros and cons of taking a product like GSE so that you don't overdo it and you're not concerned about using it when it's time. So with a product like GSE, all you have to remember is that as far as we know, it does not attack beneficial bacteria. As far as we can tell, it is fairly effective against negative or anaerobic bacteria like pathogenic type bacteria, like the ones we worry about, the strep and the staph and the MRSA and the corona and the different kinds of viruses and things. It has either a neutral or beneficial effect on the bacteria or virus or fungus, depending on which one it is specifically, which strain, and your genetic makeup. But the thing I'd like you to keep hold of on this is, although GSE doesn't kill everything every time you take it, it doesn't permanently and automatically save you from ever having a cold. What our family has noticed is this. We've used GSE for, I'm guessing, about somewhere between 20 and 25 years. And everyone in our family, even our kids who have left home and started their own families, they use GSE. We've used it for decades. We have fewer colds, fewer flus, fewer viral infections, fewer health problems. And in our family, we've confirmed to our satisfaction that if we take GSE as recommended in our books, in our videos, on the bottle, especially the liquid form, that it is reasonably effective if you use it early. So like things like the different medications tell you that if you take it at the first sign, that's the important part. So, a lot of times the day before you get sick, you're thinking, I feel a little odd. My throat's a little scratchy. My ears feel this. I have a little headache. Whatever your body usually gives you as a sign to tell you that you might be getting sick, when you get to that point, right early on, almost before the beginning even, when you first have your first clue or first thought about it, if you were to take GSE at that point, our family has found it to be almost 100% effective. And at times when we have gotten a cold or something, even when we started taking it, it seems to us, and this is maybe 6 different family members, that it at the very least shortens the length of time we have that cold or whatever from maybe 7 days or so to 1 or 2. So to me, something you can get over the counter, it's non-toxic, it's not destroying your immune system and that kind of thing, that makes it very valuable. And so as this relates to flare-ups and things, I say the same thing. Flare-ups are based on one of 2 factors in the gut, and they are inflammation or infection. And of course, GSE is not an anti-inflammatory. So the bottom line is it'll have virtually no effect on an inflammation-based attack. But we have something else for that I'll mention in a second. But for infection-based attacks, it's highly effective, used at the first sign. So we highly recommend GSE for this. And you know what? GSE costs next to nothing to use. I think the bottle is around $20. And in our family, at times, we are able to have one small bottle and keep it in our little medicine drawer. I think at times we've had a bottle last 1 to 3 years. So it's not a product that costs really anything to use. It's a matter of, do you have it? Do you have it on hand? We recommend, if you have a digestive disorder, especially if you have any other health concerns, and especially also if you have children, it's a very effective product. You can use it, or they have a variation of it to use as an eardrop for earaches or ear infections. It can be used topically for cuts, as a kind of like you would use a triple antibiotic ointment or that kind of thing. It's very effective. So the other thing is, if your immune system or mine has been compromised with one or more rounds of antibiotics, and you'll think, oh, he's just reaching now. But I say, back as far out as like 10 years, in the last decade, if you've had one or especially more rounds of antibiotics in even a long period of time, they have affected your immune system drastically. And so as these doomsayer pandemics that present themselves every 2 to 5 years, as I hear about them on the news, I get tired of hearing about them, and I get tired of the graphs and the doomsday things they say about them. I don't entirely buy into everything the media tells us about them. However, I do believe in prevention, so using the GSE in advance is great. The other thing is that because you and I already know we have a compromised immune system, what can we do about that besides something that we have to keep taking to make sure we don't get ill? So the main thing that Rachel and I know works for that angle is a good probiotic. So there are two probiotics that Rachel carries. One is the Proberry Chewable. That's primarily for very young and very old people. It works better for them. It's easy on their stomach. They don't have to take a pill. They're kind of pleasant tasting. They're berry flavored. It's strong. The strains of antibiotics or probiotics in it are all acid resistant. They're certified acid resistant. And that's why we have it made like that. So that's a group. If you're older or younger, that's an excellent choice for you. If you're still fine with taking pills or capsules, and you're not super young or over, say, 75 or 80, a better choice might be the Rachel's Pro 100. The strongest volume and IU count of probiotics that I have been able to find or have created. And again, every single strain in the Rachel's Pro 100 is certified to be a hybridized acid resistant strain. It's not just the same as everyone on the health food store shelf. These are very specific, special products made at our direction and request according to our specifications for our type of patients, specifically suffering from the things that you and I have suffered through, which is all these procedures, all these antibiotics, all these contagions, the fact that our immune system is compromised, and so forth. So if you can take a pill or two, or a pill once or twice a day, I do recommend, instead of the Proberry Chewables, I prefer the Pro 100. Basically that's the entire video. I just wanted to let you guys know we have a little, we meaning you and I, people with digestive disorders, we have a little more concern about a typical pneumonia, virus, bacterial, infection going around, these pandemics, the swine, the bird, the legionnaires, the Ebola, the corona, the this or that. I don't like hearing these things on the news and always feeling like, oh no, here comes the big one. If you do these things, I believe seriously that you're much less likely to A, have any reason to worry about it, and B, much less likely to have a problem with it. So we want to keep your immune system boosted. If you were to have a mild something or the beginning stages of something, these two products are highly effective at dealing with it. So anyway, we didn't want to make this, with all that's going on right now, we didn't want to make this just another Monday email. We wanted to kind of give you a little more. And so I asked Rachel if she would mind if I did a video for you. So there's your Monday email. There's some, what I think is very good advice. These are especially the GSE, very effective, very inexpensive to use. If you can afford it, the Pro 100 is a great product and will double the effect of the GSE. But even for just regular blue collar people who are working hard for every dollar and don't have a lot of money to spare, the GSE is, I think it's somewhere around 20 bucks at Rachel's, and it's very effective. And there's so much in the bottle, and you just use a few drops. That bottle can last you, if you use it a lot, and there's a few of you, maybe 6 months. If you're like our family and you use it when you really need it, maybe a year or 2 or 3. It's a great product. The Pro 100 and the GSD together is almost an unbeatable combination. Use one or both of them, and thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.